Chosen one, listen carefully. This message you about to hear. Hook the moment everything collapsed. Nothing fell apart by accident. What you called loss was a signal. What you called chaos was alignment. Right before destiny activates, reality always shakes. If everything collapsed at once, this message is for you. You were not being punished. You were being repositioned. The collapse was not the end. It was the door. The different one among many. From a young age you felt different. Not better, not superior, just different. You questioned what others accepted. You sensed depth where others saw surface. This difference was never random. It was the mark of assignment. Chosen ones are born with awareness that cannot sleep forever. Even when you tried to fit in, your soul resisted. The silent call within. You did not choose this path. The path chose you. The call came quietly, then louder. Through discomfort, through restlessness, through longing. You felt pulled toward truth, meaning, and purpose. No one around you could explain it. That is because the call was not external. It was ancient and internal. Why everything had to fall. Destiny cannot activate in a false environment. Old structures cannot hold a new version of you. That is why relationships broke. That is why careers ended. That is why routines collapsed. The universe removed what your courage could not. What fell was not aligned with who you were becoming. The collapse cleared the ground for truth. The pain that awakened you. The pain was intense for a reason. Chosen ones awaken through pressure. Comfort never activates destiny. Loss sharpens awareness. Isolation deepens intuition. Confusion forces inner listening. What hurt you also opened you. The wound became the doorway. SIGNS, you were being prepared. You experienced repeated endings. You outgrew people without explanation. Noise exhausted you, silence strengthened you. You questioned systems, beliefs, and authority. You felt called to step back and observe. These were not coincidences. They were initiations. Preparation often feels like destruction. Why society tries to silence you. Awakened individuals disrupt illusions. They see through conditioning. They ask dangerous questions. Society fears what it cannot control. So it labels you too intense, too quiet, too different. It encourages distraction and numbness. Your clarity threatens comfortable lies. Silencing is a form of control. The loneliness of the path. Chosen ones walk alone before they lead. Isolation is part of refinement. It strips dependency and false validation. It teaches self-trust. You are separated to strengthen your connection to truth. Loneliness was not abandonment. It was training. You were being prepared to stand without approval. When destiny activates, one day clarity replaces confusion. The noise fades. Your inner voice becomes steady. You stop chasing and start aligning. Opportunities appear without force. Your presence becomes powerful. This is activation. The collapse makes sense in hindsight. The responsibility of awakening. Awakening is not ego. It is service. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to impact it consciously. Your awareness carries responsibility. Integrity becomes essential. Truth becomes non-negotiable. You must live what you see. Stepping into your role. Stop waiting for permission. Stop explaining yourself to the unready. Your life is the message. Your energy teaches more than words. Move with intention. Speak with clarity. Act with courage. This is how destiny expresses through you. The moment of choice. If this message reached you, it is not random. Your awakening is active now. Do not return to who you were to comfort others. Honor what you have become. Stand firm in truth. If this resonated, like this video. Comment what part of the collapse changed you most. Subscribe to return to awakening and walk this path with clarity and power. The shadow phase. After the collapse came silence. Not peace, but stillness that felt heavy. This was the shadow phase, where identity dissolves before truth forms. You question yourself deeply, not because you were weak, but because the false layers were falling away. This phase humbles the chosen one. When everything felt empty, you noticed motivation disappeared. Things that once excited you no longer mattered. This was not depression by chance. It was detachment in progress. Your soul was withdrawing energy from illusions. Empty hands are required to receive destiny. Nothingness was preparation. Space was being created within you. The test of faith. This is where many turn back. When no signs appear. When prayers feel unanswered. When progress feels invisible. Chosen ones are tested in silence. Not to break them, but to see if they trust without evidence. Faith here activates endurance. Discernment was born. You began to see clearly. Who was genuine? Who drained you? Who supported growth and who feared it? Your tolerance for manipulation ended. You stopped explaining your intuition. Discernment sharpened quietly. This clarity is a weapon of light. The death of old desires. You no longer wanted what others chased. Status felt hollow. Approval felt cheap. Noise felt unbearable. Your desires refined themselves. Purpose replaced pleasure. Meaning replaced distraction. This is maturity of the soul. When time felt different, you noticed time slowed down. Moments felt deeper. Awareness expanded. You lived more in the present. Chosen ones experience time differently when awakening. Because consciousness is no longer scattered. Attention becomes sacred. Presence becomes power. The invisible support. Even when you felt alone, you were not unsupported. Guidance came through thoughts. Warnings came through intuition. Protection came through redirection. Doors closed that would have harmed you. Paths shifted without explanation. This unseen support was always active. You were never abandoned. The strength you did not notice. Look back carefully. You survived what should have broken you. You adapted when nothing made sense. You kept integrity under pressure. You did not harden your heart. You did not lose compassion. This strength was built quietly. You are stronger than you realize. Alignment over force. You stopped chasing outcomes. You stopped proving worth. You stopped begging for clarity. Instead, you listened. You moved when guided. You rested without guilt. This is alignment. Effort becomes minimal when timing is right. The shift into authentic power. Power no longer meant control. It meant self-mastery, emotional regulation, clear boundaries, intentional speech. Chosen ones do not dominate. They influence through presence. Authenticity becomes magnetic the moment you stopped running. You stopped escaping yourself. Distractions lost their grip. Silence no longer scared you. You faced your thoughts without resistance. This is where transformation accelerated. Awareness replaced avoidance. Acceptance dissolved inner conflict. Running ended, becoming began. The reprograming of the mind. Old beliefs surfaced to be questioned. Limits you inherited revealed themselves. Fear-based thinking lost authority. You stopped accepting narratives that kept you small. Chosen ones must unlearn before they lead. Truth requires mental freedom. Reprogramming is uncomfortable but necessary. Clarity replaces conditioning. When intuition took the lead, logic stepped aside. Inner knowing became louder. You trusted what you felt without proof. Decisions came from alignment, not anxiety. Your intuition was always present. Now it was finally respected. This guidance is precise. It never rushes, never lies. The detachment from OUTCOMES. You learn to act without attachment. Expectation no longer controlled emotion. Success and failure lost emotional charge. Peace became internal. Chosen ones master neutrality. They move with purpose, not desperation. Detachment is not indifference. It is trust in timing. The end of people-pleasing. You stopped shrinking to be accepted. You stopped explaining your boundaries. Silence replaced justification. Respect replaced approval-seeking. This shift unsettled others. But it stabilized you. Chosen ones do not negotiate their truth. They embody it quietly. The activation of inner authority. You stopped looking outward for direction. External validation lost relevance. Your decisions carried certainty. Not arrogance but clarity. Inner authority is calm. It does not argue. It does not defend. It simply moves forward. The recognition of purpose. Moments began aligning. Conversations carried meaning. Experiences felt orchestrated. Nothing felt random anymore. Purpose is not a job title. It is how you move through life. Chosen ones radiate intention. Their presence carries direction. The weight of awareness. With clarity came responsibility. You could no longer pretend. You could no longer ignore truth. Awareness demanded integrity. This weight felt heavy at times, but it refined your character. Light requires discipline. Awakening is not comfort. The calm before expansion. Things slowed again. Not in confusion, but in stillness. This pause was intentional. Before expansion, grounding is required. Roots must deepen before growth. This calm was strategic. Stability precedes visibility. The quiet confidence. You no longer needed to announce growth. Your energy spoke first. Your eyes carried knowing. Your words carried weight. Chosen ones do not convince. They resonate. Confidence became silent. Power became grounded, the separation from the old world. You began to feel out of place again. But this time without pain. Old conversations felt repetitive. Old environments felt draining. This was not superiority. It was frequency shift. You could no longer live in spaces you had outgrown. Separation became natural. The awakening of discipline. Motivation was no longer emotional. It became intentional. You showed up even when unseen. You honored routines that strengthened you. Chosen ones developed discipline quietly. Because consistency builds authority. This discipline protected your energy. Structure supported your expansion. The refinement of speech. You spoke less but clearer. Every word carried intention. Gossip lost appeal. Complaints felt heavy. Speech became deliberate. Silence became powerful. Chosen ones understand language shapes reality. They speak with care. The return of creative flow. Ideas returned differently. Not from pressure, but from stillness. Creativity flowed without force. Expression became authentic. You created because you were aligned. This flow is a sign of integration. Mind and soul working together. The unseen leadership. People began watching quietly. They felt your presence before your words. Your calm influenced their chaos. Your clarity reflected their confusion. Leadership emerged without announcement. Chosen ones lead energetically first. Titles come later. Influence is organic. The test of humility. With growth came temptation. The ego wanted recognition. But humility was required. Power without humility corrupts. You were reminded often. Stay grounded. Stay teachable. This balance preserved your clarity. The expansion of compassion. Judgment softened. Understanding deepened. You saw pain behind behavior. Awareness expanded empathy. Chosen ones do not excuse harm, but they understand wounds. Compassion became strength, not weakness. The SYNCHRONICITIES. Repeating numbers. Unexpected meetings. Messages arriving at the right moment. Life began speaking symbolically. This is alignment language. Reality responds to awareness. Synchronicities confirm direction. You were on path. The internal stillness. Noise lost authority. Urgency faded. Inner calm stabilized. You became unshakable. This stillness was earned. It came from integration. Chosen ones operate from center, not reaction. The preparation for visibility. Something shifted again. You felt readiness without impatience. You sensed movement approaching. Visibility was near. But foundation came first. Integrity before influence. Character before platform. This preparation was intentional, the reckoning with fear. Fear did not disappear. It changed form. No longer loud but subtle. Whispering doubts about readiness. Chosen ones must walk with fear without obeying it. Courage is not absence of fear. It is movement despite it. This reckoning strengthened resolve. The shedding of false identities. You noticed roles falling away. Labels no longer fit. The mask felt heavy. You stopped performing. Authenticity replaced adaptation. This shedding felt uncomfortable. But freedom requires exposure. Truth cannot hide. The honoring of the body. You became more aware of your body. Rest became sacred. Energy became currency. You listened to signals. Chosen ones understand the body carries wisdom. Alignment requires physical respect. Burnout no longer appealed. Sustainability became priority. The shift in RELATIONSHIPS. Connections changed naturally. Some faded quietly. Some deepened unexpectedly. Quality replaced quantity. Chosen ones attract resonance, not crowd. Truth filters relationships. Those aligned stayed. Those not drifted without conflict. The courage to be seen. You felt resistance to hiding. Not from ego, but from responsibility. Your voice mattered. Your presence carried impact. Chosen ones must be seen eventually. Light cannot remain concealed forever. Visibility became inevitable. The balance of softness and strength. You learned when to stand firm and when to remain gentle. Strength without aggression. Softness without weakness. This balance refined your character. Chosen ones integrate both. Power expressed through restraint. Wisdom guided response. The release of comparison. You stopped measuring progress against others. Timelines lost meaning. Paths revealed uniqueness. Comparison drained energy. Chosen ones walk singular roads. No blueprint exists. Your pace became intuitive. Trust replaced urgency. the embodiment of patience. Waiting no longer felt passive. It felt active and intentional. You prepared quietly. You refined skills unseen. Chosen ones understand timing. Premature exposure weakens impact. Patience matured you. Readiness deepened. The internal alignment. Thoughts matched actions. Values guided decisions. Integrity stabilized identity. Inner conflict reduced. Alignment created peace. Chosen ones live congruently. This harmony amplified clarity. Energy flowed freely. The sense of approaching shift. You felt it without evidence. A subtle momentum building. Not anxiety. Anticipation without attachment. Something was approaching. Not externally forced. Internally confirmed. The next phase was near. The refinement through still tests. Even near alignment, tests continued. Not to delay you, but to confirm stability. Pressure revealed consistency. Chosen ones are tested at higher levels. Not for punishment, but for precision. Integrity had to remain intact. The mastery of emotional energy. You learned emotions are signals, not commands. You observed without reacting. You responded without attachment. Emotional intelligence sharpened. Chosen ones must master inner weather. Storms no longer controlled direction. Awareness regulated response. Balance became skill. The detachment from validation. Praise no longer inflated you. Criticism no longer destabilized you. You stood centered regardless. Approval lost influence. Chosen ones cannot be led by opinion. They answer to truth. Self-trust replaced external confirmation. Authority rooted internally. The awakening of service. Purpose expanded beyond self. You felt responsibility toward others. Not to save, but to guide. Chosen ones serve by example. By embodiment. By presence. Service emerged naturally. The strength to say no. Boundaries became non-negotiable. You declined without guilt. You protected focus. You honored capacity. Chosen ones guard energy fiercely. Because energy fuels mission. No became sacred. Discernment guided commitment. The removal of urgency. Rushing disappeared. Pressure dissolved. You trusted unfolding. Timing revealed itself. Chosen ones move when aligned, not when anxious. Urgency belongs to fear. Clarity belongs to trust. The expansion of awareness. You saw patterns clearly. Cycles repeated with meaning. Lessons integrated faster. Awareness widened. Chosen ones perceive layers. Beyond words. Beyond appearances. Truth revealed itself effortlessly. The stability of self. Identity solidified. Not rigid, but rooted. You knew who you were becoming. Chosen ones stand firm without force. Flexibility without compromise. Self-respect stabilized presence. Grounded confidence emerged. The quiet readiness. You felt prepared without needing announcement. No rush to prove. No fear of delay. Readiness settled calmly. Chosen ones recognize timing internally. The signal is peace, not excitement. Stillness confirmed alignment. The pause before manifestation. Everything slowed one last time. Not as resistance, but as alignment check. Final calibration occurred. Chosen ones experienced this pause. Right before visibility. Right before activation. Nothing was missing, the final internal alignment. You noticed everything within you agreeing. No internal arguments. No pulling in opposite directions. Mind, heart, and intuition synchronized. This alignment was rare. It signaled readiness. Chosen ones activate when inner division ends. Unity within unlocks power. The collapse revisited with clarity. You finally understood the collapse. Not emotionally, but truthfully. What once felt cruel now felt precise. Nothing unnecessary survived. Every removal had purpose. Every loss created space. The past no longer hurt. It instructed. The release of resentment. Blame dissolved naturally. Not forced forgiveness, but understanding. You saw everyone acted from their level of awareness. Resentment could not survive clarity. Chosen ones cannot carry old weight. Bitterness blocks transmission. Light requires cleanliness. The strength of non-reaction. Provocation lost its grip. Triggers no longer controlled behavior. You paused before responding. This pause changed outcomes. Chosen ones conserve energy. Reaction leaks power. Stillness redirects momentum. Control returned inward. The internal reward. Peace became consistent. Not happiness dependent on outcomes, but grounded peace. A sense of rightness. Chosen ones are rewarded internally first. External results follow later. Inner stability is the foundation. Everything builds on this. The sharpening of mission. Your focus narrowed. Not confusion. Precision. You knew what mattered. Distractions revealed themselves instantly. Chosen ones operate with clarity of mission. Every action became intentional. Energy followed direction. The end of self-doubt. Doubt lost credibility. Not because you became perfect, but because you became honest. You trusted your process. Chosen ones do not eliminate doubt. They outgrow it. Experience replaces uncertainty. Self-belief stabilizes action. The inner signal. Something inside you said now. Not loudly. Not emotionally. Calmly. This signal was unmistakable. Chosen ones recognize it immediately. It does not argue. It confirms. The readiness to move. You felt movement without rushing. Steps became obvious. Decisions simplified. Resistance disappeared. Chosen ones move when resistance ends, not when excitement peaks. Flow replaced effort. Action aligned naturally. The threshold moment. You stood at an invisible line. Between preparation and expression. Between inner work and outer movement. This moment felt sacred. Chosen ones cross thresholds consciously. No applause. No announcement. Just commitment, the crossing into new territory. Once you crossed, there was no return. Not because the past vanished, but because you outgrew it. Old fears could no longer reach you. Chosen ones do not escape their past. They integrate it. The crossing marked maturity. You moved forward carrying wisdom, not wounds. The shift in perception. You no longer saw life as happening to you. You saw it moving through you. Events became information. Challenges became instructions. This perception changed everything. Chosen ones read reality symbolically. Nothing is meaningless. Every moment speaks. The embodiment of calm authority. Your presence changed rooms. Not loudly, but unmistakably. People listened differently. Chosen ones carry authority without demand. It comes from self-alignment, from consistency, from inner order. The detachment from drama. Chaos no longer pulled you in. You observed without absorbing. Drama revealed itself as distraction. You chose peace repeatedly. Chosen ones do not feed emotional noise. They conserve clarity. Silence became protection. Distance became wisdom. The alignment of action. Your actions matched your knowing. No inner resistance. No second guessing. Movement felt clean. Chosen ones act from clarity, not impulse. Efficiency replaced effort. Results followed alignment. Flow confirmed direction. The recognition by others. Some sensed your change immediately. Others resisted it. Both responses were information. You did not correct anyone. Chosen ones do not seek recognition. Recognition arrives naturally. Your consistency spoke for you. Truth revealed itself over time. The deepening of trust. Trust shifted inward completely. You trusted timing. You trusted intuition. You trusted restraint. Chosen ones operate from inner agreement. They do not force outcomes. They cooperate with unfolding. This trust stabilized everything. The simplification of life. Excess fell away. Schedules cleared. Focus sharpened. Life became lighter. Chosen ones simplify to amplify. Clarity requires space. Less became more. Essentials revealed themselves. The quiet momentum. Progress began moving steadily. Without urgency. Without noise. Just consistency. Chosen ones build momentum quietly. Sustainable growth replaces spikes. Depth replaces speed. This momentum lasts. The feeling of right placement. For the first time, you felt positioned. Not ahead. Not behind. Exactly placed. Chosen ones know when they are where they should be. No anxiety. No doubt. Just presence, the stabilization of identity. You no longer asked, "Who am I becoming?" You knew who you were. Not as a label, but as a state of being. Identity stabilized through experience. Chosen ones stop searching externally. They recognize themselves internally. Certainty replaced confusion. The release of old fears. Fears that once dominated faded quietly. Not through force, but through irrelevance. They no longer matched your frequency. Chosen ones do not fight fear forever. They outgrow it. Courage becomes natural. Confidence becomes grounded. The integration of light and shadow. You accepted all parts of yourself, not just the polished ones. Shadow was no longer rejected. It was understood. Chosen ones integrate duality. Wholeness creates power. Denial weakens awareness. Acceptance strengthens it. The end of self-sabotage. You notice destructive patterns dissolve. Not through effort, but through awareness. You no longer betrayed yourself. Chosen ones honor their own energy. Consistency replaced cycles. Trust with self was restored. Alignment protected progress. The deepening of inner silence. Your mind became quieter. Thoughts slowed. Reactivity disappeared. Inner silence expanded. Chosen ones access wisdom in stillness. Silence reveals direction. Noise hides it. Clarity emerged effortlessly. The responsibility of truth. You could no longer lie to yourself. Comforting illusions lost power. Truth became priority. Even when uncomfortable. Chosen ones live honestly. Self-deception blocks destiny. Integrity maintains alignment. Truth keeps the channel clear. The expansion of awareness in others. People around you began shifting. Not because you preached, but because you embodied change. Your presence activated reflection. Chosen ones awaken others unintentionally. Light reveals what is dormant. This influence is subtle, but undeniable. The test of consistency. Growth was no longer new. Now it had to be maintained. Daily choices mattered. Discipline was required. Chosen ones prove readiness through consistency. Moments define momentum. Small actions compound power. Stability confirms maturity. The detachment from the need to be understood. You stopped needing explanation. Misunderstanding no longer bothered you. Your truth was self-contained. Peace replaced justification. Chosen ones do not need validation. Understanding comes later. Alignment comes first. Silence preserved energy. The internal confirmation. Deep within, you felt certainty. Not excitement. Not anticipation. Calm confirmation. Chosen ones know when preparation is complete. There is no rush. No doubt. Just readiness, the unbothered state. External chaos no longer disturbed you. You observed without absorbing. Peace remained intact. This was earned stability. Chosen ones are not unaffected. They are unentangled. Detachment protected clarity. Calm became default. The deep ROTING. Your foundation strengthened internally. Values anchored decisions. Principles guided movement. Nothing superficial could shake you. Chosen ones root before they rise. Depth ensures longevity. Strong roots hold expansion. Stability preceded growth. The return of purposeful drive. Energy returned with direction. Not scattered motivation. Focused intent. You moved with meaning. Chosen ones act when purpose aligns. Drive without desperation. Action without anxiety. Momentum felt clean. The sharpening of focus. Distractions revealed themselves instantly. You declined what diluted clarity. Attention became selective. Focus became sacred. Chosen ones guard attention fiercely. Where attention goes, power flows. Focus multiplied effectiveness. Results followed precision. The sense of divine order. Life no longer felt random. Events aligned intelligently. Delays made sense. Timing revealed wisdom. Chosen ones trust order beyond control. Patience revealed patterns. Surrender strengthened trust. Order replaced resistance. The embodied gratitude. Gratitude became natural. Not forced positivity, but recognition of growth. Even pain was honored. Chosen ones see lessons everywhere. Thankfulness elevated awareness. Contentment stabilized energy. Presence deepened appreciation. The quiet expansion of capacity. You could hold more responsibility, more pressure, more visibility. Without collapse, chosen ones expand capacity gradually. Strength builds through patience. Growth matched readiness. Stability supported expansion. The alignment of values and action. You lived what you believed. No contradiction. No compromise. Integrity guided behavior. Chosen ones embody truth consistently. Alignment strengthened credibility. Trust followed consistency. Character became visible. The end of internal conflict. Inner resistance dissolved. Decisions felt clear. No second guessing. Confidence remained calm. Chosen ones operate from agreement within. Conflict drains energy. Harmony amplifies power. Peace confirmed alignment. The sense of imminence. Something felt close. Not anxiety. Certainty. A subtle readiness. Chosen ones sense transition internally. No announcement needed. No signal required. Just knowing this is your call to rise. If this message found you, it is because you are ready. Do not doubt what your soul already knows. The collapse is complete. The preparation is finished. Now it is time to stand in who you have become. Stop shrinking, stop waiting, stop questioning your worth. If you felt seen, heard, and activated like this video now, comment that you are ready to walk your destiny with clarity. Subscribe to return to awakening and step fully into the path you were chosen for.